Good evening. I'll call to order the Papillion La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for February 23rd, 2026 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you all. Roll call, please.
Miss Witt.
Here. Was it Witt?
M- Witt.
Sorry.
Miss Witt.
I'm here too. Here.
Miss Butler.
Here.
Mr. Madler.
Here.
Mr. Lotus.
Here.
Miss Wood.
Here.
Mr. Bailey.
Here.
All present.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Section 2, Communications. Welcome Colonel Mark Russell up to give us our military advisory report. Welcome, Colonel.
Welcome, Colonel.
Tonight, first and foremost, thank you very much to Papillion La Vista for your support, invaluable support really, with our kindergarten fair. So y'all were out there helping out. We had, I think, nearly 35 families that were impacted by that. So thank you very much for help with that. 2 more workshops coming up. So first one is a teen budgeting workshop. That'll take place on the 12th. It'll actually be at Willow Lake Golf Course, so off base there. And then a spring social event for EFMP and homeschoolers. We'll be hosting that on 30 April, and that'll be at the Offutt Air Force Base Event Center. So those 2 things coming up. But mentioning April, for us, that's Month of the Military Child, and look very much forward to collaborating with you all and multiple Papillion La Vista schools to host events that honor and recognize our military children. And I know you have done that in the past, so appreciate and can look forward to a continued partnership in that. Pending your questions, that's all I've got tonight. But
Thank you, as always, for being here, Colonel. As we get closer to April, I know we'll be in touch with our military liaisons who do an outstanding job of communicating with us, but if there's specific activities going on in the community or at the base specific to the month of April, please keep us in the loop. We want to be as supportive of that as we possibly can.
yes, sir. I know Purple Up is 15 April. That's the big one. But then there'll be other ones that we work and coordinate. So I'll be sure, like you said, as we get closer, we'll have a more detailed list for sure. But thank you all very much.
Sorry, Colonel, one more thing. I don't know if I saw this correctly. Did I see the air show is returning?
Yes.
In August?
Correct.
Okay,
It should be 8-9 August. I think I got those dates right. And that will be, air show returns. I'm trying to think. I think they're trying to combine it with the StratCom days. So it should be pretty cool. A lot still to be ironed out and worked out. Definitely going to be a big event and really cool. Again, free to the public, right? So looking forward to seeing the community out there. Nice. And hopefully, I don't know if August will be any cooler than it was when it was in, July last time or something like that? Probably not. But regardless, should be pretty cool. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
And if you need any help, Mr. Bailey said he'd volunteer to help. Yes, so just let him know.
Yeah, it should be a great event. So thanks for bringing that up. Thank you.
All right, moving on to item B under Section 2, Communications. I will ask Dr. Rickley to provide a superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lotus, members of the board. Happy Monday, everyone. For our community members that are with us this evening, thank you for engaging with your Board of Education. For those that are watching online, we appreciate your support and for you participating in our process. We've got a lot going on in the school district. It was a short week last week as we celebrated both the federal holiday on Monday, 2 snow days, one of which was blown by your superintendent. It's probably not the first that I'll blow. It's probably not the last. Obviously, we put a lot of stock into winter weather warnings. That tends to be one of the triggers. It's certainly not the only trigger we use, but it's one of the triggers we use. Thursday, obviously, we didn't see much until late in the day. Thursday was a little bit dicey, but certainly appreciate our parents and taxpayers being patient with us. We do the best we can with the information we have, and sometimes I get it right, and sometimes I get it wrong, so I do the best that I can with what I have. Last Monday, we did have a really exciting event, courtesy of Dr. Siri's leadership. The board is well aware of the strategic planning effort that we've been doing as a school district, kicked off this summer with our community advisory group, where we framed up a number of potential goals for the district. We had students, we had parents, we had taxpayers, we had board members, we had business leaders. We brought that group back last Monday and had a really great conversation on both the goals and objectives, some of which of that information Dr. Siri will be sharing with you later tonight. So stay tuned for more on strategic planning. Also, Dr. Settles is across the street. She couldn't join us tonight, but she put together a heck of an event also last Monday when we were without students. In the morning, we had a substitute teacher breakfast and training session. I don't know, I did a count of approximately 150 of our student teachers that joined us, Papillion La Vista South. And then we followed it up later that day with our para-education conference. That's a second conference that we held of the year. Dr. Bell runs lead on that. It's just a terrific opportunity to provide some training to both our substitute teachers as well as our paraeducators, as well as just build some camaraderie and some connections among that very, very important group. Also wanted to remind the board that we've got a community closet event coming up. We had to cancel our last one because of inclement weather. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, participating, or just coming out and feeling really good about the wonderful things that are happening in our community, this Saturday at La Vista Middle School, we'll be running the community closet for about 2 hours. My guess is, given the cold weather, stocking caps, mittens, winter coats are going to be flying off the rack. So for anyone in the audience or who may be watching that's donated to families that really need that help up this time of year, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means more to our families than you probably realize. Leadership cohort. We're in the midst of the legislative session. As you're aware, we have a leadership cohort where we take aspiring administrators down to Lincoln. They meet with senators. We met with Senator Arch. We met with Senator Conrad, we met with Senator Hughes, a number of policymakers and aides. Had a really good day. Dr. Settles deserves a ton of credit for that. So it was a productive day of not only seeing how the legislative process works, spent some time on the floor behind the glass in the rotunda, but also meeting with the people that are voting to make it happen. So a great lesson in how our democracy works. Just a couple of other things. Before I get to the couple of other things, though, I did want to single out a very special audience member who's here with husband and child, our own Rachel Stevens, who's currently a music teacher at Patriot Elementary, went through a really rigorous process. As the board is aware, we have a couple of open elementary principal positions and an assistant principal position at G. Stanley Hall that is now filled, and it is being filled ably by our own Rachel Stevens, who is a graduate of our leadership cohort. Could the board join me in thanking Ms. Stevens for being part of our administrative leadership program? So Rachel, thank you for being here. We're thrilled to have you. You've done incredible things. In fact, I think Mr. Lotus was like, yeah, my kids had her. She's pretty amazing. Yeah, she's pretty amazing. So Rachel, thank you for being here with your family. Also had kind of a nice, just short little letter. It's a little bit out of season, but we just received it about a week ago, and I did want to read it into the record for the board regarding the Papillion La Vista South volleyball team. It came from Senator Holdcroft, who's Legislative District 36, so he does own not the majority part of the school district, but certainly he has a piece of us. Dr. Rickley, Board of Education, on behalf of the 36th Legislative District in the state of Nebraska, I would like to send congratulations to the South girls volleyball team for winning the 2025 NSAA Class A Volleyball State Championship title. In honor of this achievement, I have introduced a resolution to honor the Titans for receiving this well-deserved award. I am pleased that this resolution will become part of the permanent record of the 109th Legislature's second session. A copy of the legislation, along with the legislative journal and agenda, are enclosed. So just wanted the board to be aware of that. We certainly appreciate the honor. I will be sending this off to South so that they're aware of it. But just a really special thing. Speaking of really special sporting events, last Friday, I know we had a board member or two there. Last Friday at Liberty Middle School, we hosted 4 elementaries. We had Prairie Queen, we had Golden, we had Trumbull, we had Anderson Grove, participating in unified basketball. So there were 2 games. Folks, the gym was packed. It was packed with students, with parents, with taxpayers. It was one of the coolest events that I've been to in a long time. Kids with disabilities competing alongside kids without disabilities, just the pride on the kids' faces, the parents' faces. It's just a really special reminder of what makes this school district such a very special place. And the last thing, Mr. Lotus, if you would indulge me before I wrap up my superintendent comments, Dr. Villarreal and his team put together a brief video it was marketed really for La Vista Middle School, but the cool thing with this video is this could have taken place in any one of our 21 buildings. And when I watched it, when Dr. V previewed with it, it was a good reminder for why we do this work. So without further ado, Dr. V, would you mind queuing up the video, please?
Something good that recently happened to me is I won my first ever wrestling match.
Like hanging out with friends like during lunch.
I got my grades up and my mental health got better.
Meeting new friends here and like making really good connections.
I started doing wrestling and football and I'm liking them a lot and all the coaches are really nice and supportive to us.
I had a unified basketball practice.
Making the basketball team and making new friends.
Getting invited to National Junior Honor Society.
We all made varsity basketball.
I'm really so happy because I did get good grade.
I signed up for wrestling managing and I got in.
I got accepted into honors choir.
I like this school because I have a lot of friends.
It was high school night, so I learned a lot of stuff that's going to be exciting in my future.
I have a good grades.
I had the chance to play the bassoon.
I met all my MAP score goals.
Being able to learn things differently so I can understand.
My show choir rehearsed good for our upcoming competition.
The wrestling managers are helping me very well at wrestling. I do like my math teacher. She's very nice.
I have really good connections with my teachers.
Me making new friends.
I have a good grade in Spanish.
Miss Gunther gave me an award for being good at English, and that was like so cool of Miss Gunther. It was awesome.
Being in Mr. Claire's and Mr. Troffel's class.
I think I did good on a math test.
Successfully getting my friends to become friends with each other.
Tener buenas notas y compartir con mis amigas.
Having a lot of friends and good grades.
Ser responsable con todas sus tareas.
Be responsible with all her homework. I got two A's on my math test and my social studies test. All of my teachers, since I broke both of my wrists, made accommodations for me, and now class is a lot easier to learn. One good thing that happened to me recently was meeting my new friends on my school basketball team.
I made 2 new friends this week.
Probably being able to spend time together as friends and being like
I made a new friend recently. I'm so sorry. My grades have been better because I feel like doing better.
I'm happy to have good grades and nearly kind of speak in English.
The school's great. I love it. I love all the clubs. I actually feel welcomed here.
Being here.
You and your team do some amazing things, and it's always curious of what's coming next.
That's right. That's right. Good way of looking at it.
All right, moving on to board member reports this evening.
I'll go first. I actually have stuff. So my oldest son helped out at the Unified Basketball game on February 13th, and I would agree that that is a very, very cool event. And then I also attended my first foundation board meeting last week, and they discussed the new building and plans are progressing there. And then I'll also note that Summer Kids Club registration is open for current enrollees, and I think it will be opening soon to everyone else. So. I had the opportunity to go to the liaison lunch at Trumbull Park with the Roadrunners, and Principal Rusk had a wonderful group of teachers present to share their thoughts with us. Lots of celebrations. They were very pleased with their map data and how the construction in the building had turned out very successfully. The Polar Plunge had been a lot of fun and raised some funds for their unified sports. While we were there, we also had the pleasure of having the Beep Beep Bites come and provide us with some treats, and that's something new that they have some of their students that are participants of the special education program, they have a snack tray that they're able to move through the building and practice some of their skills of salesmanship and selling money. And I actually they suggested some chocolate chip cookies for me, so that was a good deal. They shared with us one of the things that they were doing a collaborative professional development with one of the other buildings. I believe it was Carriage Hill, on restorative practices, so they continue to work on their PBIS plan and enhancing that. They talked very highly about the para conference and the opportunities that our paraprofessionals have, and they appreciated that very much. They had several other celebrations school-wide and also things they appreciated district-wide. We also they had some questions or some thoughts. They were wondering about retention efforts for teachers, and Dr. Settles was able to share with them some of the information and specific things that we're doing in that area. They also, brought up some questions about CPI-trained staff and if we were able to increase the numbers of those. And also just some other areas of how we transition kids back in after they've experienced some mental health or behavioral difficulties. But great conversation, very positive staff, very proud of what they're doing in the building. I also had the opportunity to be part of the strategic planning lunch on February 16th. And, I just have to congratulate Dr. Siri and Dr. Voisin for the process that they've put in place. I heard from my table group that day how much they appreciated that they had been listened to in the summer, because the objectives and goals that had been brought back were very much in line with the discussion that we'd had during the summer. And they were also, as business people at the table, really appreciative of the fact that they were able to be involved in this along with staff. So it was a great opportunity to touch base with that team again and review what's been done and then look forward to what's yet to come. And then I also had the opportunity to attend a unified basketball game on February 20th. It's fun to see how these continue to grow and expand. Anderson Grove had their band there, so the pep band played prior to the game, and, concession stands were being sold, items were being sold, but just the fun and the excitement and the team team spirit between the schools and the support of all the young athletes there. It is a great event, and it's exciting to see more and more of our schools become involved in that. So, thank you.
I had our weekly NASB legislative call today as we continue to track the bills as they move through the hearing process, then the committee process, and then potentially getting onto the floor. The NASB Legislative Committee, we are going to go down, I think most of the committee is going to go down next Wednesday to the Capitol and talk with senators for some of those bills that are kind of on our radar as they are moving through the process. One of the newer items that we chatted through today that we just need to continue to watch is an amendment to the inheritance tax elimination bill. Now, typically, we don't track the inheritance tax elimination because it's county money. We, the school districts, don't get that. But in order to make the counties whole from potentially losing their inheritance dollars, there is either an amendment that is going to be dropped or has been dropped that would move the motor vehicle tax dollars from the school districts to the counties to fill that gap, which we get a significant amount of our budget from the motor vehicle. I think I looked last year was about 5%. Of our total revenue came from this tax. So just something to continue to watch. Obviously, every school district is different, but one of the new things that popped on the radar in this week's call. But I'll keep the board posted. And if you have any messages you'd like me to get across next Wednesday to senators on any specific bills, or if you want me to take down any letters, just let me know and I can pass those notes along. And then separately, we did have the La Vista Middle School Liaison Lunch 2 Fridays ago with Dr. Carson and her team. It was great to be there. We had a couple students join us this time around, which was great. I mean, for the most part, they're just eating their lunch as we talk through, absenteeism and, transportation and some of the other stuff. But it was great to turn to them and just ask them questions, and the staff asked them questions on how the school year is going, or their thoughts on clubs and activities, and just get their thoughts on different topics that we were chatting through. We were able to see that video that was just shared. We saw a preview of that, which was great to watch. Those that also know the students watch that video, that have those connections. But we did talk through their drop in their chronic absenteeism and try to figure out, the reason behind it, see how shareable that is to other schools. And we talked through transportation, struggles with the school, and just getting the staff's thoughts on, how the district can be better, the potential things to look at in that area. But I thought it was a great conversation, and after the meeting, we were able to see some of the new additions. We saw the new counseling center from the prior bond and some of the updates as well, and it looked great. So I appreciate the team over at La Vista Middle School of taking time out of their busy day to sit down with us and chat through some of the issues. So thank you.
I don't know if anybody else saw this or got this, a reminder that they're doing a legislative workshop with Senator Roundtree tomorrow morning. I know I was at the one in January. It's a virtual Teams workshop, but it's at 8:15 tomorrow morning. I don't think I'm going to be able to make this one, but if anybody wants information, if you don't already have it, he was great to talk to last month, and was very interested in hearing what we had, and that was where I had Dr. Siri's letter, and kind of was able to use that to talk through some information with Senator Roundtree. So he's very open to speaking to us. So if anybody else is interested in joining, I think there were only like 2 or 3 of us on there in January. So, but like I said, if you don't already have that, I just got that up, or a reminder on that earlier today.
Very good. Last Monday, I was able to head to the central part of the state to attend the Nebraska Association of School Boards Board President Retreat. It was the first time I got to attend in person. The last time I was board president, it was virtual and not really well attended. So this was a good group of leaders from across the state, and just we vary in size, we vary in number of buildings, whether it's consolidated districts, or being one of the larger ones. We all share the same problem when it comes to funding, tax rates, and what's going on in the classroom and with teachers and staff. So great place to network with folks and just go through and be reminded of some of the fundamentals of board leadership. So I know some of the rest of the board has attended these in the past, so it was great to attend. And for once, there was only a small stretch of construction on I-80 between here and Kearney, so much faster. Then the following day, I had the Liberty Middle School liaison lunch. It was kind of a different format that they hosted. Instead of prescribed kind of agenda items or questions, it was more of just an open discussion. So I had a great mix, a large group of staff in the room, and so we spent a vast majority of the time focused on some of the challenges specific to Liberty in terms of class size. Their growth has slowed from when it first opened, and so it's just sitting there at the borderline of whether they need another team or not. And so obviously as we go forward looking at staffing for next year, taking that into consideration. So, I mean, overall, our class sizes throughout the district are in a good spot. There's just, pockets that in certain core classes that, tend to get to the higher numbers that were not preferred by us or by the staff. Some other topics, again, obviously, transportation, as well as we're waiting. We wanted to hear some celebrations, so we finally got to that point in the conversations, just celebrating, as we've heard from many around the table, their success with unified sports. I love seeing a lot of the the high schools, the middle schools, and even some of the elementaries embracing Circle of Friends as a club, and then them being involved in unified activities. They're seeing a huge increase, not only in the participation within the unified sports itself, but as well as that peer group. And then, what did they call? I wrote it down, and then I left it on my desk at work. Their peer mentoring, where they, well, we're a peer if somebody's struggling in a certain subject. They have, kind of peer folks. I know, it's sitting on my desk, I can picture it, but it's also great where they get to hear from their peers instead of that one-on-one time with staff. So using the team time to, one, have one-on-ones between staff and students, but also using that peer group to help folks that may be struggling in a particular subject. So very, very good discussion, and kudos to Dr. Jurassic for Hawaiian Brothers. That was,
lunch was
a new twist to the liaison lunch, so much appreciated. And then I did attend a unified basketball event at Papillion South a couple of weeks ago, and it's great not only to see the growth of unified activities within our district, but then to see other districts throughout the metro area that have now become unified schools and participate. So instead of our kids consistently playing each other all the time, it was nice to see another school in, and they didn't have a very large program, so we allowed some of our folks to go and help on their side. So great evening, and just like everybody said, to see the smiles, the activities. They scored their first basket. They're glowing. They're looking for their mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, and the high fives could not get enough. So thanks to all that sponsor and support those programs, as well as our students and staff for making it a fantastic event.
Can I jump in real quick? One other thing I meant to say, and I didn't, and I didn't have a whole lot, but just a quick shout out to Coach Heiser for his last home game. That was quite something, quite a turnout for that. So congratulations to him. I just have to shout out, I've known Coach Heiser for a long time, so I think that's pretty amazing.
And he got the win.
And he got the win.
Yeah, they were pouring it in over, it was Millard North, and Millard North came in on a winning streak. So it was a really fun game, and it was a really cool tribute to Coach Heiser. So thank you for reminding us of that, Colonel.
All right, seeing no further reports, we'll move on to item C under section 2, communications, committee reports, buildings, grounds, and finance.
We have not met since our last meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Madler. Human resources and student services.
We met on February 12th. We had a kind of a review and a discussion regarding the teammates coordinator and historically how that's looked in the district and how that position has been shared in the past and where it's at currently. We talked about some sign language interpreter positions that will need to be filled for next year. Dr. Settles gave us an update on the internal transfer numbers and where we stood at that, and also discussion on the openings that were left to fill, including the 2 principal positions.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. And curriculum and Americanism.
Yeah, we met on February 11th, almost 2 weeks ago. What we talked about was a strategic plan, which we've heard a lot about, and of course we will get a report on tonight, so I won't go into too much of that. We've already kind of covered that. We talked a lot about some money that we have from the state Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant. So we had some money that was carried over, and then we have another large amount of dollars that will be spent here on literacy-related professional development within the district. One of the big things they're doing, and I think that's starting here real soon, is it tomorrow? Today, okay, I was thinking it was tomorrow, that we're going to have a group come in with the Implementation Consulting Group, ICG, led by Dr. Judy Elliott. She and her team are former literacy specialists, and I think some of them are actually teachers, and they will come in and kind of do or are doing, classroom surveys, 1 grade in each building, and they're looking for like student achievement data, attendance data, discipline data, not looking to at teachers specifically, but about our programs and our systems that we have in place, and see if, see how those are working and how we can improve those systems. So I think it sounds like it's already, like I said, it started, and I think it'll be, it's going to be something very good for the district. Also, did you have because I saw it's today, the Title IX audit, did it get rescheduled? Did it happen today? All right, and you will have some results for us, I'm sure, once you get all of those. You'll come back with results. We talked about that. The HOW program, our High Ability Learner Program, it's starting its program review process in the next few months. Matt Hildebrandt will be leading that process. They'll be looking at not only our priorities and how we run our program, but also some changes in state statutes that will need to be reviewed. And then finally, I think we all know that the Director of Secondary Curriculum, Dr. Sauer, is going to retire in June, and so we will be filling her position with Alex Olson, who is already in the district as serving as the curriculum facilitator. And so then I'm not sure if I haven't heard anything yet if you have backfilled her position, but I know you're going to interview for that. So, so those are all the things we talked about. Busy meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. All right, that concludes Section 2 Communications. Moving on to Section 3 Action Items. Action by consent.
I make a motion to approve the action by consent as listed.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Ms. Witt. Roll call, please.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Mather?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to item B, Policy Review 1000 Series, Public Relations and Communications. Dr. V?
Good evening. Last meeting, Dr. Rickley presented the one change, increasing that dollar amount from $50,000 to $65,000. We noted the additional change from Mr. Bailey and made that change where the word was written out instead of the number. Otherwise, it is as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept Policy 1000, Public Relations and Communication changes to Policy 1410 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Witt and a second by Mr. Madler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mather?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Or get my mic on. Thank you. Moving on to item C, 2026 staff device purchase. Mr. Moore, Dr. Siri.
Good evening. So yeah, as we discussed at the last board meeting, talking about the staff refresh, looking at doing the entire fleet of the MacBook Airs. You can see I've got the price breakdown, so it's going to mirror exactly what we do in our 4-year cycle previously. So really the only difference is that we're doing them all up front, but we're still breaking out. So we'll have the same model, just like we talked about. We'll be able to update our MDM for our management and get everybody on the same model and the same software. So recommendation is to make a motion to approve entering into a purchase agreement with Apple Computer Inc. for the total purchase amount of $1,341,600 to replace the existing staff fleet of MacBook Airs.
And just as a reminder to the board, this is because of the management software changing and having them all consistent was a priority, but they will remain on the same cycle. So when they come back again, it will be eligible for the same payment schedule as what we're doing right now.
And you'll see in the attachments, it has 3, but that's because we don't pay that 4th year based on our cycle, how we currently do our cycle. So that's why it's only got the 3 payments in the Apple financing.
I will make the motion to approve entering into a purchase agreement with Apple Computer Inc. for a total purchase amount of $1,341,600 to replace the existing staff fleet of MacBook Airs.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Ms. Wood. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Moving on to item D under section 3 action items, the Springfield Platteview District property transfer request for the Shadow Creek North area. Unfortunately, Mr. Richards went home ill this morning, so we've asked Mr. Madler to kind of discuss the talking points, bringing it from discussion at the last meeting to action this evening. Mr. Madler.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lotus. Yes, so we discussed this last week. I assume there's no maps or anything to share on the screen, but okay. We do? No? Okay, yeah, never mind. No, that's a track. That's coming up. Okay, that's fine. We discussed this transfer last week. I know we went through the individual maps in our subcommittee meeting. So this is the Shadow Creek North transfer. I believe we've already done the South transfer last year. This is located on the southwest side of 84th Street and Schramm Road. It's just over 75 acres. The Springfield Platteview Board has already approved the transfer, so then once we approve it, it will get sent down to the State Reorganization Committee, which they'll action on for approval this spring, and then once they action on it, it will be sent to the county for the transfer on June 1st. But no changes since our last meeting. Okay. With that, I can make the motion to approve the adjustment of school district boundaries interlocal agreement between Springfield Platteview Community Schools and Papillion La Vista Community Schools of an estimated 75.035 acres in the Shadow Creek North subdivision as presented and on file with official district records and the processing of school reorganization plan to transfer an attached property by a change of boundaries in accordance with the terms and conditions of the agreement under and pursuant to the Learning Community Reorganization Act, Section 79-4,117 to 79-4,129, and other Nebraska laws, and that the board president, vice president, or superintendent of business services be authorized to execute and deliver the agreement and implement and administer the transactions thereunder for and on behalf of this school district.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Mr. Bailey. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wood? Yes. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on to our final item under Section 3 action items, the Policy Review 2000 Series Administration. This is Dr. Settles, so I don't believe we had any.
Yeah, thank you. If I may, Mr. Lotus, so we made a few changes, but they were all procedural, and this is probably good for the community to know too. The board has purview over any board policy. What we generally do as a school district, and this is very common practice, is underneath policy, we operationalize that policy by having procedure. So this is a procedural change. It doesn't technically require board approval, but sometimes we'll err on the side of caution. In this case, the procedural changes had to do with the boilerplate language that were given to us by KSB law firm, just to make sure that our procedure language was in line with the latest with state and federal law. So it's really more of just a cleanup. There's nothing substantive that'll change, and technically does not require board approval, but again, for the sake of transparency, we like putting that in front of the board, and certainly would answer any questions that the board may have.
I will move to acknowledge the review of Series 2000 board policies.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Madler. Roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, that concludes Section 3 action items. Moving on to Section 4, the discussion and information items for this evening. Item A is the Foundation Field Track replacement plan. I'll invite Mr. Dan Kauk, Director of Facilities, to walk us through.
All right, well, thank you and good evening. Tonight I'm with Mark with Lamper Nearson, one of our engineers, working on the project. And he's done a lot of projects and been on a lot of projects here for the district, so he's going to give a little insight on the second part of this. Things are a little kind of slow right now, but they're going to be gearing up here. And one of the big projects we'll be doing starting this summer will be the replacement of the foundation field track. As you know, it's a very old track. I think 22 plus years that it's been there. And usually the life expectancy of a track, life expectancy, we'll use that term, about 20 years. So as you can see, it's starting to get to a point where some of those fixes, cracks, settling, things that are typically able to be resolved are getting a little bit more difficult with the age of the track. We did get feedback from the track coaches and the athletic directors at each high school as well, just to get some feedback on what would be some potential changes that we may want to look at. And Mark will share that with us here in a minute. And this will be paid for through the special building fund. And this week, public bids are going out and should be due by the end of this week here, I believe. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Mark. He'll share a little bit about the new layout that we have for our track.
Mark Torsen, Lamper Nearson, happy to be here. So just to piggyback on what Dan was saying, it bids Wednesday. Contracts would follow soon thereafter, anticipating starting as soon as school's out. And Mr. Brett Richards has stressed to us that it has to be done before football. So we have a completion date of August 1st. So this is it. This is foundation field, asphalt track. Basically, it consists of a rock subbase, 3 layers of asphalt, and then a rubber membrane. Like Dan said, we met with staff last year, coaches. We listened to their feedback. We incorporated some of their comments into our design. That includes kind of modifying the long jump area, the pole vault area. We also included longer runouts on the track. Other than that, it's basically, as you see here, it's a running track. It's similar to what we provided for you guys at Monarch. So, do you guys have any questions? I apologize. I'm standing in for somebody else, so I am a little unprepared.
We got 2 stand-ins tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 stand-ins.
So.
They're doing great job. Great job, stand-ins. We're talking about the Monarch track. I know, last summer we did the same thing at Monarch, complete tear out, rebuild.
Yep.
And that was pretty delayed. I don't think they got done till October or even November.
Yes.
Even when they got everything done. What are we doing this time around to make sure that we're hitting like in August?
So the delays at Monarch, unfortunately, we had some adverse weather. You guys were not the only ones. I know Gretna experienced something similar. The problem with these tracks is once you tear out the asphalt, it turns into a giant bathtub. So if you get rains and you have no way for that water to get out, you're just kind of stuck. So that's what happened at Monarch. I guess the only thing I could say is cross your fingers and hope for better weather. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, unfortunately.
And I believe we are going out for bids to put a penalty in for its completion.
Thank you, Mr. Madler. And I don't know that you can speak to that, Mark or Dan, but I think one of the things that Brett stressed was liquidated damages. And I think there was a per diem amount penalty to incentivize. I mean, we certainly understand weather's unpredictable. On the other hand, when the curtain goes up on football and activity season, marching band season, we simply have to have access to that track, which I know you understand better than most.
We've had several conversations with Brett regarding this, so we are well aware and we intend on hitting that target. So, yeah. Any other questions? All right, appreciate your time.
All right, thanks.
Yep, thank you both. All right, moving on to item B, under discussion and information items, our strategic plan update. Dr. Siri.
Yes, good evening. I'm going to invite Dr. Tammy Voisin to come up, and it's kind of good that Katie's gone because she can just sit right here. She's going to present with me. Dr. Voisin is co-lead on strategic plan and was also trained in the Cambridge model. So this is kind of exciting. I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat. Maybe not, but Pretend like you are. We are ready tonight to share with you the goals and the objectives of the next strategic plan that the district will work on for the next 5 years. So just as a reminder, I know you've seen this slide before, but why we use strategic plan in the district is because it really does set the vision for the next 5 years in the district. We engage stakeholders and ask them how we can make our district stronger and more excellent for the students that we serve as we provide their education. And with strategic plan, it not only allows us to continue to get better, but it also then sets the priorities for the system, and that includes funding and actions around student learning. So with that being said, just as a reminder, we just finished up the action teams, and their job was to take all of the information from the community advisory planning team from their work this summer and form those goals and objectives. So that's what we're going to present to you tonight. And after that, we have one more step, and that's the implementation team, and they will take this work and turn it into actionable items for the district. So just as a reminder, we did access a lot of stakeholder information for our strategic plan. We used advisory groups, surveys, focus groups, and interviews to collect information, as well as interviewing a lot of students. And all of that information, along with our fiscal data and our student achievement data and our growth data, was taken to the community advisory group this summer. And they really dug in and looked at not only all of the stakeholder feedback, but also big picture and carrying on with the previous strategic plan. So they spent 2 days this summer to do that, and they arrived at these themes that were identified as areas of focus for the next strategic plan. Those themes included a mental health continuation, engagement in community, both internal and external, so our students within their community and their building, and then the buildings within the community. Building an expectation of rigor, expansion of advanced classes, documenting a student's academic planning, and then sustain a passionate, engaged staff. So those were the themes that were identified through all of that work of going through all that stakeholder feedback information. And where we have landed is the action teams then took these themes, and they spent the last 6 months formulating teams in which they did a lot of research on what best practice was, what other districts are doing, and perhaps where the district needs to go to formulate the objective and goal. And then they also did a cost-benefit analysis that I shared with the subcommittee, where they gave their best estimates of what it would cost the district and then what the benefit would be if the district moved forward with that goal. So tonight, we are here to share with you the goals and the objectives. And before we start, just a little clarification. The way that the Cambridge model works is the goals are identified and the objectives are short statements that are developed to say if you do these things, then you should reach the goal. The implementation teams will take those objective statements and turn them into actionable steps. So that's kind of the last part of the process. So with that being said, Dr. Voisin's going to do the first 3.
Okay, so we're just going to go through each of these one at a time, and we'll look at the goals and then the objectives that the team came up with for each goal. And like Shireen said, these teams worked really hard and had some really deep, meaningful conversations around the feedback that came from the stakeholders group and what they were charged to do. And it's really hard to not jump to what the implementation team is supposed to do. So these goals and objectives are aimed at giving the implementation teams direction without telling them how to do it. So that's what you'll see next. The mental health team was led by Kaylee Ayala. She's a supervisor of special services, and Stephanie Hazing, who is our mental health liaison. So I'm going to read to you the goal, and then we'll look through the objectives, and we kind of highlighted some main words in there so you can get an idea of the objectives. So the first goal, PLCS will provide students equitable access to coordinated behavioral, emotional, mental health and social supports that foster self-awareness, well-being, and engagement in a safe and inclusive environment to thrive socially, behaviorally, and academically. So the team, it took a lot of meetings to land on that goal, and once we were done with that goal, then they set objectives. So they came up with 4 objectives. The first one is about strengthening our current multi-tiered systems of support framework, where students move through the core and interventions to meet their individual needs. Examine the current mental health supports that we do have to be able to sustain them, and then broaden some of those existing resources. Explore a systematic process for using data and aligning that data with current practices, and then increasing staff capacity on their knowledge, skills, and strategies that we use to support students. The next theme is building an expectation of rigor, grit, and perseverance, leading to higher student achievement. This team was led by 3 individuals: Matt Hildebrandt, the curriculum director of elementary education; Brooke Moorhead is a principal at Anderson Grove Elementary; and Zach LaPointe is a curriculum facilitator. This goal, PLCS will implement high-quality instructional practices and equitable learning systems to ensure academic rigor while empowering all students to take ownership of their own learning. So these objectives, again, there were 4 identified, ensuring rigorous student learning is continuing to occur. The second one is about feedback and communication to both students and those relevant stakeholders, such as their parents. Promoting rigorous systems to maximize the staff that we have to be able to support students, and developing a culture of high expectations and perseverance. And the third goal is about expansion of advanced classes, including AP, internships, and academies. So
This was led by?
Oh, yes, sorry. This one was led by Julie Sauer, Director of Secondary Education, and Priscilla Peterson, Cooperation Best Liaison. So PLCS will provide all students with equitable access to a broad range of advanced academic and career-connected opportunities, including that advanced placement coursework and exams, academies, internships, and college credit opportunities, which would include the dual enrollment credit classes. So 5 objectives here. So expanding that awareness of what we have currently in place, strengthen and diversify those pathways and certification options, increasing access to those internships, exploring those AP courses and different exam offerings, and enhancing communication across the schools, families, community partners.
Okay. That brings us to our 4th theme, which was really about documenting students' academic pathway in partnerships with students and parents. And this particular goal or action team was led by Joel Bales and Matt Hager. They are assistant principals, 1 at each of the 2 high schools. The goal here, as you can see, is PLCS will create and implement a consistent district-wide 6 through 12 system for communication and stakeholder resources that support students, parents, and educators in planning for course selection and steps beyond high school. This goal, we have a lot of these pieces in place, but the key word here, I think, is consistent and system for it. Our counselors do a lot of this work, our administrative team does a lot of this work, and the curriculum department does a lot of this work, but our stakeholders definitely had concern about where do they find it consistently and so on. So the objectives that were identified, there are 5. The first one is that systematized resource and communication for all stakeholders. The second one really focuses on a transparent course registration that would include planning pieces for years beyond the current year. The third one is skills for academic and career planning. So not only college, but perhaps career and internship opportunities. The fourth one is to increase access and engagement for both parents and students. And the last one is to ensure consistency across the district. Okay, the fifth theme was engagement in community, and this was led by Dr. Christopher Villarreal, Jamie Boyer, who is an elementary principal for us, Spencer Choquette, who is an assistant principal at the middle school, and Luke Olson, who serves in the dean role at the high school. And this goal is PLCS will meaningfully engage students, families, and staff and community members in our schools through intentional connections and practical access, resulting in a culture of belonging, pride in community, and student success. And you can see there are 6 objectives for this one. The first one is we're going to work on coordinating calendars, maximizing resources, systematize opportunities for student enrichment, remove barriers, expand our language supports for communication, and provide opportunities for families, staff, and students to engage with school. And the last one, theme number 6, focused on sustaining a passionate and engaged staff through intentional and ongoing efforts. And this particular action team was led by Dr. Becky Myers and Dr. Andrew Bell and Rachel Stevenson, who are all in our HR department. And this goal, PLCS will align and enhance systems for strategic retention, recruitment, intentional support, and professional growth for educators. This goal specifically is really focused on systematizing things. We've done, the HR department has done a lot of work in this area the last few years, but now it's about building and designing a sustainable model. They're going to minimize barriers, enhance and align feedback practices, systematize pathways for certification, and recruit staff that meets the needs of our students. That will be a continuation. And so that outlines the 6 goals and their objectives that will now be taken to implementation teams. So the next steps and kind of the last component before we really just begin to dive in on the goals, we will be selecting leaders and form those implementation teams. The folks that serve on those implementation teams are the ones that are directly tied to that work. The action team leaders that recently did the research and identified the goals and the objectives will meet with the implementation leaders to make sure that there's transfer of information. And often those action team leaders also usually serve on one of the implementation teams. A goal can have multiple implementation teams. We also have been taking feedback on the goals and objectives from the advisory, from different stakeholder groups. And as it was mentioned earlier, the community advisory group was brought back on Monday for a lunch where we asked, do these goals and objectives match what your intent was this summer? That feedback will also be shared with the implementation team. And then they will begin to solidify the goals and identify timelines and implementation steps for the district over the next 5 years. What questions do you have or clarification can we give you?
Well, I appreciate the update, all the work that you and team and everyone you listed put into it, including countless others, I'm sure. So when you get in the individual action items, will that then be shared back with us at a future board meeting, or how will that be shared out?
Yes, so it will be, it'll be summarized because they will come at different times, obviously, because some of the goals will require more research, more due diligence as to what the timeline will look like, and so on. But after the objectives and the goals are adopted by the board, then that work will begin. And yes, as they wrap those up, I will bring those to you and share those with you. Then after that, they'll start the work, and we will schedule the periodic updates like we've done in the past, where the implementation team will come and talk to you about the work they're doing.
Gotcha. And Can you just remind me, what the communication in that happens with like Mr. Richards as far as the budget and some of these longer term investments, making sure that the team that is coming up with the individual action items also understand, on the resources side that as a district, we have allocated the resources for it?
Yep, and that's really why they do the cost benefit analysis, and that actually started with Cabinet. So after the action teams did that, it went to Cabinet, and Cabinet talked about it and provided feedback before they set objectives. Because if there was a large financial ask, we didn't want it to be an objective if there were not ways for the district to support it and sustain it.
Appreciate it.
Well, and Dr. Siri, just to be clear, board involvement, correct me if I'm wrong, Shereen, but one of the next steps, now whether it's at the next meeting or a future date, I think is up to you and Dr. Voisin, but the board at some point will take action to approve the goals and objectives, and then and only then will we say, now action teams, you go write the specific plans. Did I get that right?
That is correct, yep.
Okay.
And we'll develop that one sheeter that we've used the last strategic plan for 5 years that kind of captures the goals and the objectives.
Perfect, thank you. And just an observational thing too, since we have some audience members and maybe some people watching at home. We did a rather fundamental change to our survey instrument. Instead of one big end of the year survey, we've talked about this in previous meetings, typically administered in April, we're doing shorter pulse surveys. And if some of the goals and objectives for that matter sound vaguely familiar to surveys that you've been answering as either a staff person or a parent, in some cases it's both, right? That's by design. We are collecting information through those short pulse surveys that tie back to the goals so that we can establish a baseline of not only where we're at, but hopefully progress that's been made as we start developing those action plans.
Other questions or clarification needed?
Dr. Siri,
Thank you. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Thank you both for that very in-depth walkthrough of where we're at with our strategic plan process. So that concludes Section 4, discussion and information items. Moving on to Section 5, our public comment for items not on tonight's agenda. We do have one request to speak. Again, during this time of public comment, the board will only listen to comments and will not answer questions or engage the speaker as required by the open meetings law that is posted at the entrance to the room. With that, when called upon by myself, the individual shall proceed to the podium and state their name and address for the record. Once that is complete, then your 3-minute time will start. We have our 3 minutes on the clock over here. When 3 minutes is up, it will beep, and I'll just give a polite gesture to please wrap up your comments if they're not concluded by the 3 minutes. Total speaking time is not to exceed 30 minutes per category unless a majority of the board votes to extend the allocated time. That won't be an issue as we only have one comment this evening. So with that all being said, I'll invite Ms. Stephanie Barton to the podium.
Welcome, Ms. Barton.
Thank you. You need my full street address?
Yes,
Okay.
name and address for the record.
Stephanie Barton, 121 South Fall Creek Road, Papillion, 68133.
Thank you. You can begin when you are ready.
All right, good evening. I'm a taxpayer and a mother to an 8th grader and 3 6th graders who are directly impacted by the district's current transportation policy. I am here to address a critical safety gap, the lack of busing for secondary students within 4 miles of school. Middle schoolers in my neighborhood without a ride must walk 72 minutes one way to LVMS, navigating high-speed streets and intersections like Cornhusker, 72nd, and Giles. I want to be clear, I am formally asking this board for 3 immediate actions. 1, amend policy 5701 so hazardous route protections apply to secondary students. 2, audit the Eagle Ridge walking routes during peak commute hours. 3, exercise your statutory authority to bus secondary students living over 2 miles from the school. I requested that our routes be evaluated as hazardous, but Mr. Richards told me policy 5701 only applies to elementary students being bused under 4 miles. The law of physics does not change in 7th grade. A vehicle is just as lethal to teenagers as elementary students. Mr. Richards told me transportation within 4 miles is a parental responsibility. That argument relies on a massive, outdated assumption that every household has a parent with the flexibility and means to chauffeur kids twice a day. In our heavy military community, this forces deployed parents or those on rigid shifts to choose between their livelihoods and their children's safety. That's unacceptable. Our suburban streets are engineered for high-speed vehicle throughput, not pedestrians. Refusing to bus students doesn't save money. It displaces the cost onto the community. One bus can replace 36 to 50 cars. A lack of routes forces massive drop-off lines, increases congestion, accident risk, and the need for police presence. This is evidenced by 25 citations near LVMS in just 1 week and 2 students hit by vehicles in January. Applying rigorous fiscal forecasting reveals this isn't a savings, it is a dangerous false economy. Speaker John Arch's office confirmed the 4-mile rule is a floor, not a ceiling. Nothing prohibits a school board from approving transportation for secondary students. This is a budgetary choice. Out of the district's $170 million budget, only $3 million goes to transportation, and a massive portion of that is legally tied up in special education and athletics. The district is spending the bare minimum on regular student commutes, while nearly $8.6 million funds central administration. Meanwhile, Bellevue, OPS, and Gretna all prioritize busing students outside 2 miles. The 4-mile rule is a minimum standard, but student safety shouldn't be. Prioritize our children's lives over administrative overhead. I pray I'm not forced to stand at this podium again because another student was hit by a car or worse, because this board chose inaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barton.
And while the board generally doesn't respond, I think Ms. Barton, and for others that may be watching, just when we have concerns about transportation broadly, which it comes up pretty frequently, it tends to happen more at the beginning of the year during the mid-year point, but it's a pretty frequent thing. Typically what we do is we take the parental request, and you laid out 3 specific things, appreciate that, and we bring that back to our Buildings Grounds Finance Committee, and then they decide if they want to bring that back to the whole board. So while I can't address the specifics of the concern, we certainly appreciate you being here tonight, and that is the process by which this board will pursue the 3 recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wrigley. Seeing no further public comment for items not on tonight's agenda, we'll move to Section 6, the future board calendar. March 3rd, 2026, a liaison lunch at Bell Elementary at 11:30 a.m. with Mr. Bailey. March 4th, 2026, a liaison breakfast at Ashbury at 7:30 a.m. with Ms. Butler. And March 9th, 2026, the next Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. here at the central office. Seeing no further business before the board this evening, I will adjourn the Papillion-La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for February 23rd, 2026 at 7:07 p.m. Thank you all.